Hi, this is Terry Lee, and this is video 3 in my series on called A Gentleman and His Dog. And this is the part that we did in video 2 that goes on section 1. So we're going to glue that on. I decided that it wasn't too thick for when we do the cover, okay, which is section 5. And then I'm going to show you, I'm not using magnets because I don't have any, but I'm going to show you how to do it in case that's what you're going to use as your closure. If you're going to use little bitty Velcro dots, little hook and loop dots, those will be the very last things that we do. And so we're not going to cover that right now. And then we're going to do the papers for the paper for the inside of the flap. Okay, so here we go. We're going to glue on number 1. So be careful and flip it over because this part is very loose. And we're going to wait for my glue, which I ordered really late. Now it's going to be something like 5 days before I get more. So I have to be a little judicious on here because it's kind of heavy with the glue. Just glue right over the edges of the envelopes. Put a little schmutz in the corner so we have enough glue there that we can kind of move it around a little bit. Glue straight down over those envelope flaps, the corners. Keep going all the way down. Try not to put the sleeve of your sweatshirt into the glue. That never works out well. We're going to hold the envelopes with our thumb and flip it over. And then we're going to line it up in here. Now make sure, if you've painted it black like I have mine, the gusset line is right there. So make sure you're inside of that. Line it up. Let's see, and I'll move that up just a little bit. Now remember, from now on, we're going to line the bottoms of all the pages on this inside with this right here. So make sure you have it where you want it. And then press it down all the way around. And give it a chance for the corners to dry. Okay. So that's that. Now we've got it in. We've got our flips. We've got our tucks. We've got our thumb holes. And we have our dog with a monocle. Okay. Now for magnets, the easiest way that I know to do it is these 2 pieces of paper are going to represent the 2 magnets. Okay. Now when you fold this up, this is technically the inside cover, and I think we're going to have to do something about this, and we'll talk about that in a different video. We're going to close that, right, and then you've got this gusset, and so then this is going to fold over like that, so you would need a magnet on here under the paper as well. So what you would do is you would find your center, and I'm just going to guesstimate, okay, and you would glue your magnet on about here. Then just stick the other magnet onto it. Close this. Put glue on this magnet. No paper on this yet. And close it where you want it. That will glue the other magnet to this side. Wait for the glue to dry. Make sure everything's lined up before you put it down all the way. Sorry about that. And you may have to hold the bottom. Let me show you the bottom of this up so they're pressed together. Lined up. Sorry. And wait for the glue to dry. Then the magnets are stuck together, so all you have to do is pull it apart. Whoops. And this one will be stuck here. This one will be stuck here. And they'll be lined up. Okay? So that's how you do that. If you're using Velcro dots, like I'm going to use, then they will be the very last thing that we do. Okay? So now if you've glued your magnet down, and if you're using Velcro dots, either one, now's a good time to go ahead and glue to the papers on the inside of this flap. Now, remember I told you to save your scraps? When I cut this paper here, the scrap end that came off of this, okay, you can see the picture lines up. The scrap end that came off of that, let's put it over here just like that so it's right side up to this, just happened to fit right here on this flap. So I inked it, and now we're going to glue it on. Let's just open it like that, so when we put it back on, it'll be the right way. That little bit of schmutz off the end of the glue. Wait for it to get down there. If you wait for the air bubble to pop, then you know everything's fine, ready to go. Do your little, go straight down. Well, as straight as your crazy shaky arm will let you do it. Straight over and all the way around. Okay, then now all we have to do is carefully flip it over. Remember about your gusset right here, and just center it in the center of this section. Looks like I didn't glue or paint over far enough. What you would do is glue it right on here like that. I'm not going to do that because it looks like I need to paint a little more black glue there. So, since you are a better painter than I, you would have painted over far enough that you would have been able to glue that on. I'm glad I saw that. All right, now the last thing we're going to do in this video is the one thing that I usually, some coffee, that I usually have misaligned. We're going to put the eyelets in for the super secret section that I'm not going to tell you what it is we're going to put in yet. All right. So I use a crocodile because I got one. And what we're going to do before we make the hole is we're going to take a piece of chalk, because we're going to make a hole. Now, you can't draw on this. It won't come off this tape. All right. So what you want to do is you want to make sure where you want your dot, because since you're going to make a hole where the dot is, then the dot will be gone. You won't have to worry about getting rid of it. All right. So you have to know where your gussets are on both sides, where this is going to close like this, where that flat spot is right here. And we're going to stay inside of where this tape is, because that gives us 2 layers of tape, the layer on the front, the layer on the other side, plus a layer of manila folder, and that will be thick enough for our eyelet to attach properly. I'm going to use the one-sided eyelet, and not the side with the little circle, that little washer kind of thing that goes on this side and the eyelet on the other. We're going to put the eyelet on the outside, so the pretty side is on the outside. Okay, now another side note on my piece of chalk, I don't know if you've ever seen those little rubber things that you can put on your pencils, little grip things. Well, that's what this is. Wasn't quite big enough, so I had to cut it, But this way you can hold your chalk without getting chalk all over your hand. So just a little tip. So I'm not gonna use my Tim Holtz ruler. I'm gonna use this ruler, and we're gonna measure up 1 inch. You know, that's too far. Let's go a 1/2 inch up. Make a little mark. And we're going to go, see, that's way over to the side. And 1/2 inch in. So our dot is really going to be right about here. Right about here. My piece of chalk is rubbing on the ruler right about here. Okay. So we need to try very hard. All right, I licked my finger. And it still doesn't look like it's in the center. Looks like it needs to go over a little bit. Okay. So once again, I'm eyeballing it. So we're going to go half an inch over. And half an inch up. I'm just going to put our dot about there, licking the finger again to get rid of the chalk. Okay, so the first thing you do with your crocodile, I'm gonna use the larger hole setting because that's the size eyelets that I have are the larger, the 3/16. So you set this moves. You set it on 3/16 to make the hole. And what's going to happen is it's just like a giant hole punch. When you push the handle down, you'll notice right there that the hole punch comes down. So what you want to do is you want to line your hole up with this hole right here. I'm trying to turn it at the right angle. The bigger one of the two. So the easiest way to do that is to put your project in there, push the hole punch down just a little bit so you can see where it's going to go, and then hole punch when you've got your chalk circle lined up underneath. Okay, then we're going to turn it around and we're going to do the same thing. We're going to slide this in and hold it. We're going to partially push the thing down, the hole punch, until it's lined up. Which one was our right one? This one. We're going to make a hole punch. And it's not exactly straight, but I believe it's close enough. It will have to be. There is now a hole there. And we're going to flip it over. Definitely going to have to do something about the envelopes. Okay. And we're going to take one of the eyelets. I'm going to use the black ones. Now, when this comes, this little block, if you pull it up, you can turn it to do different types of things. So when it comes, it's already set on the eyelet. set punch. Gosh, I don't know. You probably can't see that. This little part right here, you can see from the side. Ah! I keep forgetting out is in and in is out, because I'm looking backwards at the camera on my laptop, which is behind me. All right, so this little thing right here, if you pull it up, then you can turn it. Right here, this thing. And each one of these little metal pieces is different on each side. So they do different things. And it comes preset with the one for eyelets. So you're going to need to take one of your eyelets. We're going to use the black one. So I'm going to get out two, one for the top and one for the bottom. I bought these that are specifically, I hate that word, that are expressly, we are memory keepers, eyelets, standard. Now, they have a handheld one that's only about $17. So a lot of people like that better. Can you see that? A handheld one. I'm going to put this back in my eyelet drawer. And then you're going to take this eyelet. Looks like a little hat. And you're going to put the pretty side on the outside through the hole. Then you're going to set this on an eyelet. It's got a little picture of an eyelet right there. And then you're going to slide it in, and you're going to do the same thing. You need to line up. You're going to need to line up this part, the long part, because that goes through the hole. You need to line this part up with this part of the crocodile, so that when you push down, this part goes through the hole of the eyelet, and then the bottom part is flat, and it smashes it flat. Okay, so the easiest way to do this is, once again, to partially push it down so you can see where it's going to be. Make sure the eyelet stays straight in the hole, which mine isn't. And then you're just going to punch it just like you're punching a hole punch. So I'm going to quit talking so I can concentrate. And now your eyelet has been put in. And on this, on this side it's smushed flat. Okay, now we're going to repeat it with the other end using our other eyelet. Going to put the eyelet in the hole so the pretty side is out and the long side goes through the hole. We're going to line it up, and then we're going to punch. And then this is smushed flat. And I can tell this one's not quite in the center, and this one is, but they're very close. Darn it. I really have to learn how to get those exactly lined up. It upsets me every time, because once you do it, it's done. I also make little notes to myself for the envelope sizes and what size to cut the paper. Usually I put it on one big long one like this. See the small envelopes? Those are the measurements. And there too. So envelope measurements go over there. Okay. So now we've done our eyelets. We've glued this on. I've showed you how to do the magnets. And we're not going to do anything on this side until we do the front, because we don't know what we're going to put on the front yet. And we may want to try to make the pattern line up with the pattern on here. I don't quite know yet. Alright, so that's the end of video 3. And in video 4, we're going to do something with this. And then we're also going to do the back before we do the inside, the middle. That is going to be the thicker part. Okay? Or part of the thicker part. So I will see you in video 4, and that will be just a second for you and a day for me. Bye-bye.